Welcome back. You're watching CVM News at noon, and we turn our attention to the political landscape following the Jamaica Labour Party's 81st annual conference, where Prime Minister Andrew Holness unveiled a series of initiatives targeting middle-income earners and other vulnerable groups. With promises of reduced electricity taxes, debt forgiveness on water bills, and new housing programs, the conference has been described as a major push ahead of the next general election. Joining us to discuss the event is the PNP's spokesperson on finance, Julian Robinson. So, Robinson, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, and good afternoon to your listeners and viewers.
Right out the gate, the Prime Minister announced a reduction in the electricity tax and debt forgiveness for water bills at the JLP conference yesterday. How does the opposition view these initiatives?
Well, in terms of the electricity reduction, it is going to impact, I would call, big consumers, those who are the heaviest users of JPS, and I'll explain why. Up to 150 kilowatt hours per month, there is no GCT paid on that at all. So there are a set of users who don't pay GCT. Now, if, for example, your bill is in the region of 20,000 Jamaican dollars a month, you would be saving about $1,000 per month, which is not significant. So really, the main benefit is for people who are spending $50, $60, up to $100,000 per month on their electricity bill. You know, somebody at $100,000 per month would probably get about an $8,000 reduction. So that's meaningful. But it means that this program is really geared to people who are heavy users of JPS and who are, I would say, more middle to upper income users. It's not going to have an impact on the majority of JPS users. I would say what would have been more meaningful for the government to do would have been to lift the 150 kilowatt hour exemption to maybe 250 kilowatt hours, which you would make consumption up to that point GCT free. In that way, you would be helping those who are consuming less electricity, and they would have less of a burden. But frankly, what has been done here is going to impact very few people at the lower end, but will have an impact on people at the upper end of the spectrum.
Why do you think the JLP sought to go about it that way?
Well, you know, everything is politics. You know, we are, less than a year, about 9 months away from a general election. And frankly, the government lost 2 by-elections on Friday, which they expected to win. In fact, they called them 2 days before their annual conference and they lost them. So they are really rolling out and making promises as a way of trying to win back the electorate. And the electorate has not been in favor with them from the local government elections in February, which we did very well in. The fact that we won back one of those divisions that we lost in February. We held the Morant Bay division. And this is against the background of hundreds of millions of dollars that would have been spent by the government in those 2 divisions to win. So, the reality is that they expected a bounce going into their conference. In the parliamentary by-elections, they could only pull out 6% of the eligible voters in Northwest St. Andrew, and in Trelawney, the independent candidate got over 1,400 votes. So Friday wasn't a good day for them. So I think the Prime Minister had to come with a set of promises to hope to win back the people.
Now, we're going to talk more about the November 22 by-election in just a short while. But the PNP has I think it's a 9-point lead over the JLP. That's what was revealed in the most recent polls. How does your party, how will you maintain that momentum? Let me ask that.
Well, you just have to continue remaining close to the people. The candidates have to remain on the ground. They have to continue to advocate on the issues that are important. We have to explain to the Jamaican people the policies and the programs that we will implement. We recognize you can't be complacent even though you have a lead. The government is obviously going to do everything to try and win back support, and what you heard yesterday is an attempt to do so. I don't think those trends are going to change, but as I said, you could have up to 9 months to an election, so it is important to remain close to the people, understand their concerns, and ensure that what we are articulating addresses the major needs of the Jamaican people.
Back to November 22, sir. The by-elections on Friday saw the PNP win in Annan Town and Morant Bay. What do these results mean for your party heading into 2025?
They're very positive. We had lost Annan Town in February in the local government election. So again, if you look at trends, having lost it in February, we have won it back. That's a good thing, regardless of what the margin is. For Morant Bay was a division that we had, we held it. And I say that against the background of the level of resources that would have been pumped by the government into those two seats, divisions, hundreds of millions of dollars, road work, people getting all kind of benefits, zinc, marl, etc. So, in the context of, competing with the level of resources that were thrown, I'm very happy and proud of the results that we got in the two divisions. I mean, I would tell you how confident the government was. Nestor Morgan, the Minister of Works, had planned a party Friday night called Clean Sweep.
Oh.
He had planned his party from 3 weeks ago. They were so confident that they announced this election 2 days before their annual conference, expecting that they were going to win everything. But again, people power spoke over money power.
Mr. Robinson, back to the conference yesterday. Holness said the JLP would be campaigning on its achievements and not empty promises. How does the PNP counter that message?
Well, the reality is they have been in office for almost 9 years. I hear them saying he needs another term to get these things done. The reality is you have had 9 years. Why haven't you been able to do all the things that you're now promising? And quite frankly, the polls show that they're losing support. The by-elections show that they're losing support. Every day people are complaining about the bad state of roads, the bad state of our hospitals, etc. And so I think people are fed up. So frankly, they're the ones now coming with promises. All these things the Prime Minister announced yesterday are things which are going to take place after April 1st, when the new financial year starts, 2025. They're 4 months out. So he's hoping to sell people on a promise that their lives are going to get better when he has been at the wicket for almost 9 years and he has not been able to achieve these things. And so he needs to tell the Jamaican people why not. I mean, I'll give you an example on the issue of energy. I mean, any reduction in the pressures of energy is welcome. But this is against the background of a government that has failed miserably to reduce the cost of energy. They have not introduced any new renewables into the grid. They have just completed a request for proposal and they have selected vendors. But for almost 9 years, you have done nothing to bring the cost of energy down. And now at the 11th hour, on the eve of a general election, you're dangling a reduction in GCT as a way to win people back. Well, when you can't explain your failures in energy policy over that period.
Mr. Robinson, let me ask you, how will a PNP government achieve what the JLP government has been unable to? How confident are you in your ability to achieve?
Well, let me say, first, I think you have to recognize and define that you have a problem. The big issue with this government, they have boasted so much about how well the economy is doing. The reality is that it has not translated into anything at the micro level. Yes, the macro numbers have all been positive and nobody disputes that. And we have been saying consistently for a while that you need to address the issues that are affecting the most vulnerable. If you look back at our budget presentations over the last 2 or 3 years, we have outlined specific things. So let me go through. One, you need to determine the industries that can provide growth for you. There are value-added industries that Jamaica can pursue. We believe in the cultural and creative industries. We believe in a logistics-centered economy. We believe more needs to be done for agriculture and manufacturing. Secondly, you have to address the poor state of educational outcomes. Too many of our children leave school at 15 or 16 and they can't read or write. You have to address the literacy and numeracy crisis which the country faces, and you have to deal with it now so that people can get a better education, they can lift their skills, they can engage in higher value-added activities and earn more income. So the reality is that nobody is saying that any of these solutions are easy to implement because growth has been a problem for the country over a long period of time. But you at least need to acknowledge where you are and determine how you move forward. What we're seeing now is a belated attempt by this government, having failed over the 9 years, to now dangle these things in front of the electorate on the eve of an election.
Mr. Robinson, remind me your constituency, please.
Sorry, I didn't hear that question.
Remind me your constituency, sir.
Yeah, sorry. Your volume is down and I didn't hear
Any better?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
The constituency that you represent, sir. Remind me of it in the name.
Southeast St. Andrew. I've been the MP from December 2011 and I continue to do my work and I hope to retain the seat and continue to advance the representation on behalf of the people there.
I think that would be the closing question for you. What's the temperature like on the ground? You're confident you'll retain it?
I'm fairly confident. I take nothing for granted. I don't wait until an election to campaign. I remain close to my constituents throughout the entire period. I believe in very open, transparent representation, and I have done that since I've been there, and I continue to do so.
Fantastic. That was Opposition Spokesperson on Finance, Julian Robinson. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you.